What's happening at Bryan Insurance that we need to hear from?
We're going to talk about something that is not a conspiracy theory. It's a fact.
Nearly as crazy as you are about this.
Well, okay. So this is something that comes up fairly regularly, and we're going to talk about it today, is your personal auto policy and what happens if you carry a passenger for a fee. We're not talking about stuff. We're talking about passengers today. If you carry
Living people.
if you
Uber
carry-
guys?
well, that's one
Lyft.
example. Yeah, Uber, Lyft, a taxi.
Yeah, this is funny because there's a big time story in the news right now.
Yeah.
Where people are suing Lyft and Uber because of some different things.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, one of the major issues that have happened just recently, the person or the company that insured about 45% of all taxi drivers in the U.S. just went under. And
Oh,
so
wow.
a lot of companies are scrambling because of capacity and not understanding, like, oh my gosh, we have we're talking most of the taxis in New York lost their insurance in one day. So this is a major issue. Now, with Uber and Lyft and those companies, I actually have an Uber account because I enjoyed delivering food on my Vespa. It was a blast.
Which was Uber Eats, which
With
is
Uber
different
Eats,
than
yes.
people. Yeah.
Well, what they did to solve this problem is they actually created their own insurance policy, and when you decide to pick up somebody with Uber, their policy steps over your vehicle and protects you. Your policy becomes null and void because it doesn't cover anything if you're picking up passengers for a fee. Lyft, I do not know if they have the same thing, but if you are a local doing this, there is no coverage.
Right. Yeah. Your personal auto policy has very few, there's exclusions. There's a handful of exclusions, but the one that I'm seeing more and more is it's specific. I mean, the exclusion is not new. The exclusion has been there for a long time, and it just says, there's no coverage if you're carrying a passenger for a fee. It's very cut and dry. So when you do sign up to do one of these ride share things, you need to, first of all, you need to know what coverage that company is providing you, but then you need to know how your policy responds. But if you decide to do that on your own, just because I have an extra hour, so I'm just going to go on Facebook and text me and I'll come pick you up, your personal auto policy doesn't cover you at all unless you've got some endorsement on there that particular company has added. And so,
When have you actually seen someone add an endorsement that was good for the public?
yeah, I've seen the ride share endorsements, which it basically just tells how the policy. But just know that your policy is not going to cover. It's not going to cover if that person gets hurt. If you have an accident and hurt somebody else, it could even exclude coverage, depending on the circumstances, if you damage your vehicle. So it's just not worth it. And when I saw it was on New Year's Eve, because I actually stayed up this year because we have the grandkids here, and people were on Facebook just offering to give rides for $10. And it's great to have a safe ride home, a sober ride home. That's great. Just don't charge people for it if you don't have the right insurance. That's all,
Because I was sitting there thinking, let's just say I called Matt up and I said, hey, Matt, let's go get a burger. And I picked him up and I took him and we went and got a burger. I had a wreck. Now, if I charge Matt $5 to take him to lunch, then my insurance would be in bad shape. But if I just took him on my own without anything, there's no problem?
Sure, yeah. Your personal auto policy is designed to cover you for your personal exposures. So you take your buddy to lunch. Yeah, of course, that's covered. And even if it's not my friend, even if he just needs a ride, and I'm like, oh, I'm going that way, jump in. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. It's whenever you charge for it.
You charge for it.
Yeah, and I've had people, and again, I know I don't argue on the internet. I was trying to put a public service announcement out on New Year's Eve and ended up with all these people that tried to argue with me, and I'm like, so then I turned off comments and I got in trouble for that. But because there's nothing to comment about, it's not anything to discuss. It's just there's just no coverage, And so what we don't want is there to be a bad accident, because people will say, well, I'll just say I wasn't charging. Okay, that's great. If you want to lie after the fact until it's a really bad accident and Discovery finds all those Facebook posts where you were offering, you know what I'm saying? It's just not worth it. It's not worth it. If you feel like you want to offer, it's a taxi service ultimately is what it is. You can call it a ride share, you can call it Uber, Lyft, but when you're charging somebody for a fee, if you're going to do that for your business with your vehicle, you need to talk to your insurance agent and tell them exactly how you're using your vehicle. Don't call it Uber if you're doing it on your own. We've started using the word Uber
As
a noun or as a adjective, whatever, a noun, but it's really a company. But if you're gonna do it on your own, tell your insurance agent, find out what it's gonna cost you to get the right insurance so that you can factor that into what you're charging.
And if you are using a third-party service, question them, ask them. Don't just assume.
No, get it in writing. Yeah, get in writing from them how their insurance picks up, kind of thing, just to
'Cause
make sure it's worth it.
You don't want
to
to be
you.
holding the bag at the end of the day. Or
So,
maybe just-
Especially if somebody gets hurt.
So next week we're going to talk about, because this opens up the conversation a lot more on when you deliver things,
Mhm.
when
which
you
is.
deliver versus livery.
But yeah, what we're talking about is delivery, right? Is carrying people. And so just know, like I said, there's not a whole lot to say because there's just pretty much not, your personal auto policy is not designed to cover if you're charging people for a fee. So either don't do it or talk to your insurance agent and get a quote and make sure you have the right insurance. It's probably going to be more expensive than you think.
Yeah. And that's why Uber ended up doing what they did.
Yeah.
So,
All right, then how do folks get a hold of you? Ask these questions.
if you have questions, you can come see us at the second floor of Sierra Bank Building or call us at 940-549-2525.
We're over in Hudson Oaks at 2950 Fort Worth Highway, Suite 500, 817-770-0096.
Or, come see us online at brianins.com. That's Brian with a Y.
So make it happen. Get her done. Thank y'all for the information. That's good stuff.
Thank you.
All right, hope y'all hang around for I can't make this